if you cannot endure the pain, you might going to say, you might going to throw the towel quick. Because that's another story. But Eob experienced all of those. And take a look at what his wife told him after Father Yah allowed Satan to instruct Job. In chapter 2, verse 9. The wife said this to Job. Then said his wife unto him, Dost thou still retain thine integrity? Are you going so to be loyal to Father Yah? Job, come on, look at your sons. Look at your body. Look at yourself. You lost your son. You lost your offices. You are broke. And now you have this. The wife said, Curse Father Yah and die. Just tell Father Yah. Curse him and die. But take a look at what Job said to his wife. But he said unto her, Thou speakest as one of the foolish woman. Speak it. What? Shall we receive good at the hand of Father Yah? And shall we not receive evil? Now, the thing with this good is that what we call blessings. The thing that we say evil is the one that we have been chastised. Right? But for the eyes of Father Yah, both of them is good. Because He allows us for you to happen. Because it is written in Romans chapter 8, verse 28. All is good. Everything that happens to you has a reason. Everything that comes into your life is for your own good. That's what Apostle Saul said. But only you are going to think like this if you fulfill the succeeding words. If you love Father Yah, and you are doing His purpose, then you can feel that everything will come into you is for your own good. But if you will think that all of this is not from Father Yah, then all of this, you will say it is evil for you. But Job said, can we not accept good and evil? Did Job committed sin? No. It says here, and all this did not Job sin with his lips. That's Job, isn't it? Now, let us go a little bit farther and read some of the words of Eob that gave him the hope that after, if he can endure these trials and temptation to his life, he knows he's going to be overcomer. Take a look at what Job said in Job chapter 19. I just want to read 3 of these words that Job said. 3 verses, should I say. In Job chapter 19, and starts at verse 25. Now, Job is saying these words on his life in that particular time that he got divorced, right? Okay, he said this. For I know, said Job, that my Redeemer lives. I know, Job said, that Father Yah is true. That Father Yah is going to fulfill His promise. That's what Job said. And Job is still believing that promise, that word, even though Father Yah allowed him to be struck with these trials and temptations. And he said, in that he shall stand at the latter day upon the earth. Now, this Job, book of Job, was written before Revelation, isn't it? And why Job knows that at the end of the day, Father Yah is going to stand on this earth. Who gave that hope to him? That expectations? It is Father Yah. Because in verse 26, he said, and though after my skin worms destroy this body. Job said, I know I'm going to die with this flesh. And this body is going to be eaten by worms, and I will go back to where I came from. Dust to dust. But Job said, even this flesh going to die, Job said, yet out of my flesh. Now, what flesh Job is talking here? The life everlasting. What do you mean, Brother Roland? Do you remember the story of how our Savior was risen? what he did? He drank, he ate, and big bread with his disciples, right? And the same body went inside the room of his disciples and nobody opens the door. And the same body was seen by his disciples went up to heaven, right? And I believe that is the body that Job is talking here. Not to mention that that story is written way back in the so-called New Testament. But Job is told, I will see my Redeemer in flesh. That's what Job is in his faith. Because he knows it's going to happen. And then in verse 27 he said, whom I shall see for myself, I will see it with my own eyes. Mine eyes not shall behold, not the other, though my reins be consumed with earnest desire. I'm looking forward that day. And we should look for that day. That we will be like our Master and Savior. When Father Yahweh will give us that incorruptible body. After we done our part here on earth. So after Job proved his faith, did Father Yah reward him and give him the rewards that he deserved after he proved his worth? Yes. We will find out in chapter 42, the last chapter of Job. We will read that Father Yah, in verse, help us, Father Yah, chapter 10, last chapter of Job, chapter 42, verse 10. After Job proved his faith, and Father Yah said in verse 10, turned the captivity of Job. We, one day, will be enclosed by our enemy. And that enemy probably is this life here on earth. We are low in finances. We are broke. Nobody believes us. Our children is acting up. Our husband is acting up. Our wife is acting up. These troubles around us will encapsulate us. That's what it is here, the captivity of Job. Those are the trials and temptations that will happen to us. To prove our worth to Father Yah, if we're really going to say we love Father Yah and prove our faith. Father Yah said, turn the captivity of Job when he prayed for his friends. And Father Yah gave Job how much? Twice of his possession. And then he also have another 10 children. That is Job's end. After he proved his worth. He received the reward, even though he was still here on earth. In last verse, said in verse 17, Job died being old and full of days. And so his sons, meaning his grandchildren, up to how many generations? 4 generations. Even though Job was here on earth, according here, I would presume that he is like living in the heavens. Because he died full of days. Ask ourselves, what will be our end? Is it by reward or by punishment? Either way, he's going to give us our end. Hallelujah. Yeah. Here's another story. Now this time, it is in Judges. Can somebody guess who is this? In the Judges chapter 6. Now here comes Gideon, Jerubbaal. book of the Judges, it started chapter 6. And let's begin in verse 14. Now, I will tell you the setting of this story. During this time, they have no king still with the Israelites. So Father Yah chooses these people to be the judge or overseer. Alright? Samuel was Moses was the first, and then Yehoshua, and then Samuel, one of those judges. Now here comes Gideon. But take a look at the beginning of Gideon in verse 14. And Father Yah looked upon him, meaning to Gideon, and said, Go in this thy might, and thou shalt save Israel from the hands of the Midians. Have not I sent thee? Now, during this time, Israel is besieged by the Midian Empire. That is their enemy. And on this particular setting, Father Yah is talking to Gideon, that saying to Gideon, Go Gideon, lead the Israelites, and you will conquer the Midians. Now, let us take a look at what Gideon said to Father Yah. Verse 15. And he said, meaning Gideon, said to Father Yah, O my Elohim, wherewith shall I save Israel? How can I save Israel? Behold, my family is poor in Manasseh. I am the poorest in my family, in the tribe of Manasseh. And I am the least in my father's house. Oh, yes indeed, isn't it? You know, when Father Yah chooses us to proclaim His word and do His will, sometimes we are going to find any excuse just not to do it, isn't it? Now, if Father Yah chooses us to do something, do you think Father Yah is not going to finish it, give you the means to do it? He will. Just like what happened to Gideon. Because even though Gideon is asking Father Yah how, Father Yah said, just trust in me, Gideon, and you will be successful. But first, here's the first test that Gideon need to do. What do you think is that? Here it comes in verse 25. Here we go. Verse 25 of the same verse of Judges chapter 6. And it came to pass the same night that again Father Yah talked to Gideon and said, Take thy father's young bullock, even the second bullock of 7 years old, and what you will do? Throw down the altar of Baal that thy father had, and cut down the grove that is by it. Oh, yes indeed. So meaning Gideon's father is a Baal worshipper, which is an abomination to Father Yah. But can you do it as a son with your respect to your father? Can you? Is Gideon was able to do it? He did it with cunning because he was afraid with his father. But he did it in the way. So Father Yah told Gideon to do this, and he was able to do it. But in spite of that thing again, Gideon still have doubts. That's why he comes, we have the story of the flesh.